In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 of the most common wedding invitation print methods. If you are shopping for wedding invitations, this will help you understand what these print methods are, how they work, and which is best for you. If you're looking to become a stationery designer, this is a really good overview as well. So let's start with flat printing. This is the most common print method and probably what you think of as printing. If you ever click print on a printer at home, you are flat or digital printing, as it's also called. These printers are either inkjet or laser, and they come in a variety of levels of quality, capability, size, etc. My printer back here is one example of a digital printer that you could use for wedding invitations. And here's an example from my favorite print shop. Their printer is basically the size of my entire office. It's incredible. What we love about flat printing is that it's usually the fastest turnaround, it's usually the most cost-effective printing option, and it's extremely versatile. Pretty much any design you can think of is going to be available with digital printing. And that's a type of design that's usually only available with flat printing. Flat printing is just a really good place to start if you're on a budget, if you have a tight timeline, or if you just really like bright colors and lots of different colors, watercolor flowers, etc. You're gonna love flat printing in that case. The one thing is it's flat across the page, so all the ink or toner is sitting on the page or kind of bleeding into the page, but it's not pressing in or out. There's no texture to the prints on the page. So 2 kind of caveats with flat printing are that you can't print white unless you have kind of a specialty printer with specialty ink or toner. Here's an example of my ghost toner printer and how it prints white on darker colors. You can't do this with any classic printers, so you'll need to make sure you get one or work at the print shop that has whiting printing capabilities. Otherwise, you can do what's called a flat printing, where you kind of print something on white paper, but the background you print as a color. Most printers, like an in-house printer like this one, are not going to be very good at flood printing. It's going to look streaky, your color's going to bleed, it's going to look really weird. But if you work with a high-end print shop like my favorite printer, then you can absolutely do this and leave the text white on the page. So they're using white paper, which is usually a little bit cheaper, and then you're not paying for the specialty upgrade to white ink flat printing. And yes, I am going to include my stationery vendor toolkit down below. It's a free resource with all of my favorite printers linked for you. Another caveat with flat printing is if you try to print metallic. There are some flat metallic options, but I want to be clear that these are not like shiny foil. They're more like if you've ever tried to get gold or silver craft paint, you know that the gold can be a little bit green, and they're more like paint with sparkles in it than they are like actual shiny foil. So yes, you can print metallic gold or metallic silver. Again, this is kind of specialty ink or toner, so you'll have to pay an upgrade price for it, but it can be a really lovely option. I just want to be clear that it's not going to be like really shiny foily. So if you want to upgrade a little bit, you might be interested in foil stamping or letterpress printing. These 2 work very similarly in that you have to create a die and then run it through a press. And this press is usually operated by a person. It's usually kind of an old vintage press. They don't even make these anymore. So it's a specialty type of printing. And you have 2 areas where this becomes more expensive. First, you have to create a die of your design in either plastic or metal. And then second, you have to actually run it through the press. So in letterpress printing, the die is covered with ink, and then that is pressed into the paper. In foil stamping, the die comes in contact with a thin sheet of foil, and using heat and pressure presses that foil into the paper. If you want a different color of foil or letterpress ink, you need to make a second die and run it through the press a second time. As an example, in this invitation, we ran it through one time for the green border, and then they had to remix ink of a different color, clean off the whole press, and run it back through with the black ink for the text. The more colors you have in your design, the more expensive it's going to be. If you have a 1-color design, we're usually looking around $300 to upgrade to letterpress or foil stamping, but don't quote me on that. It will depend so much on your job specs. Both foil and letterpress will create an indentation or a deboss into the paper, so it adds a little bit of texture. And both of these are going to be really good on thicker papers. Cotton paper, double thick paper, things like that are really common for letterpress or foil stamping. Here's an example of blind letterpress, which I think is really fun. You get the indentation, but you run it through with no ink whatsoever. I use this for my own wedding invitations. Now, if you're seeing letterpress or foil for a cheaper cost, then most likely what they're doing is they're reusing dies. So every time I create a new design with new client information on it, I have to create a new die. However, if I were to create a design that just said save the date in letterpress and then the rest of it was flat printing, then I could reuse that as many times as I want. So if you're looking at like Merry Christmas, save the date, you're invited, let's party, those kind of things, or like a really cool gold foil border, people are able to reuse those designs in order to achieve the same look. But since the dies are not customized every time, the price of the die can be divided amongst 1,000+ customers. So that's a great way to get the look of letterpress or foil without breaking the bank. Also, in general with foil, we think of colors like gold, silver, holographic, sparkly, like shiny stuff, but I want to be clear that it can also be matte foil. So a great way to get a really, really crisp white on top of a darker paper is to use a matte white foil. Now, one thing about letterpress and foil stamping that can be counterintuitive is that they're not really cheaper if you do a lower quantity. Most of the time, it's going to be the same price, whether you print one or up to like 150, 200, even further. So if you are only printing 30, it may just not divide out that well. If you want to use something shiny or gold or silver in a wedding invitation, but you have a low quantity, then I might recommend skipping the gold foil stamping and doing something like a gold string, a gold wax seal, or even hand gold leafing the edges, because sometimes that's even more cost effective than it is to buy a new die and set up an entire foil run for only 30 pieces. If you're interested in getting into any of these print methods yourself or just designing for them for your clients as a stationery designer, check out our membership stationery school. We just released 6 classes this quarter all about these print methods from experts in the field. So 3 more methods that are less popular but very beautiful still are embossing, engraving, and thermography. So embossing is really cool. It's kind of like letterpress, but the opposite. So instead of debossing, you're going to emboss. And usually with embossing, we're using 2 different plates, a front and a back, and smooshing the paper between them with lots of pressure and lots of heat. One thing that's really common these days is sculpted embossing, where your emboss actually has multiple levels and it makes kind of a sculpture in the paper. It's incredibly beautiful. I will be clear that retail, this will give you about $1,000 upgrade because these dies are really expensive and it's just a very specialty process that has to be run by a specialty print shop. Engraving is kind of similar in that you have that front and back plate and it's going to push up. This is going to be a raised print. And this is a very like classic Southern kind of old school at this point print method. And a lot of printers don't even offer it. I've only done it maybe 2 times in my whole decade as a wedding invitation designer. And then lastly, thermography. And thermography is interesting. It's like a powder that goes through a printer and then is kind of melted together. So it's really interesting. It's a raised feel. The letters almost feel like plastic. With all of these, there's going to be some limitations on what papers you can use, what colors you can use, etc. But I don't think these are as common. And if you wanted to invest in one of these print methods, I would definitely recommend working with a print shop who can do them or a stationery designer who's familiar with them. Overall, I love combining so many different print methods because each design has something different that is special and unique about it. I'd love to hear which ones you're going to explore. And if you're watching this as a potential stationery designer, definitely check out all the printing classes we have in stationery school because they're going to save you so much money and heartache as you're working with your clients on new print methods. Happy printing, everyone.